Jenny Fluent English. Learn smart, speak fluent. Let's start learning together.
Hi, welcome back to Jenny Fluent English. I'm really happy you're here with us today. It's that time of the year again when everything around us starts to slow down, but our minds somehow get a little busier.
Yeah, that strange moment when the year is almost over and suddenly everyone starts asking questions you don't really know how to answer.
Questions like, so what are you doing for Christmas? Any big plans for New Year?
And you pause for a second, not because you don't want to answer, but because you honestly don't know what to say.
Because the truth is, not everyone has big plans, and not everyone wants big plans.
But it still feels like you're supposed to.
Exactly. Like if you're not traveling somewhere exciting or doing something special, then your holiday doesn't really count.
Which is kind of funny because most people I know are actually just tired.
Very tired. And I was thinking about this the other day. I think this year, more than ever, people don't really want excitement. They want rest.
That makes a lot of sense. Honestly, when people ask me about my holiday plans, I always feel like they expect a good story.
And what's your real answer?
My real answer is I don't know yet. Part of me wants to travel. I see all those holiday photos, beaches, mountains, cafes in other countries, and I think, yeah, that could be nice.
And the other part?
The other part of me wants to stay home, sleep in, eat simple food, and not check the time for a few days.
That part sounds very honest.
It is. I love the idea of traveling, but planning a trip during Christmas sounds exciting until I imagine airports, crowds, delays, and carrying too many bags.
Airports during Christmas feel like everyone is holding their breath at the same time.
And pretending they're fine.
That's why when people ask me about my plans, I feel a little awkward too, because my answer is simple, and simple answers don't always sound impressive.
What do you usually say?
I say I'm just taking a break. Slow mornings, no alarms, coffee at home, maybe cleaning a little but only when I feel like it.
That actually sounds really nice.
It does, right? I used to think holidays had to be busy, like I needed to use my time well.
Same. I always tell myself this is my chance to fix everything. New habits, new goals, new energy.
And then the holiday ends and you feel more tired than before.
Exactly. Every new year, I make big promises to myself, and every year by February, life slowly goes back to normal.
That's why my thinking has changed a bit. This year, I don't really want big resolutions. I want small, quiet changes.
Like what?
Like resting without feeling guilty, spending time with people who feel safe, letting the year end without rushing it.
That sounds like a very different kind of New Year plan.
Yeah, and when you really think about it, Christmas and New Year aren't about plans or places. They're about how we feel at the end of a long year.
Especially for people who've been far from home for a long time.
Yes, for them, this season means something very different. It's not about where to go next. It's about who they finally get to sit next to again. I think people only really understand that feeling when they've been away from home for a long time. When you're living or working overseas, holidays don't feel like time off. They feel like a chance you've been waiting for all year.
Yeah, for some people, Christmas and New Year are the only time they can finally go back. Not because they want a holiday, but because they miss home.
And when you're far away, you start missing things you never thought you would. Simple things. Sitting at the table, hearing familiar voices, eating food you didn't cook yourself.
Even boring days feel special then. Doing nothing together suddenly means everything.
I remember talking to a friend who hadn't been home for years. She said she didn't care about going out or celebrating. She just wanted to wake up and hear her parents in the kitchen.
That hits hard. I think when you live overseas, New Year isn't about fireworks or countdowns. It's about feeling like you belong somewhere again.
Exactly. Sometimes it's not about where you are, it's about who you're with. And during this season, that feeling becomes very strong.
That's probably why airports feel so emotional around this time of year. You see people excited, nervous, exhausted all at once.
And everyone is carrying more than just luggage.
True. Some people are going home, some people are leaving home, and some people are wishing they could.
That's why when we talk about New Year plans, I feel like there are so many different stories behind the same question.
Yeah, one person says I'm traveling, another says I'm staying home, but the reasons are completely different.
For some people, traveling means freedom. For others, staying home means safety.
And for people who've been working nonstop all year, staying home can feel like the biggest luxury.
I think that's where I am this year. I don't want to rush into the next year. I just want to arrive there slowly.
That sounds very peaceful. But let me ask you something. What do you usually do on New Year's Eve?
Honestly, it changes every year. Some years I went out, stayed up late, counted down loudly, took photos, did all that.
And other years?
Other years I stayed home, watched something random on TV. Sometimes I didn't even make it to midnight.
Same here. I used to think New Year's Eve had to be special. Like if you didn't do something memorable, the whole year would be boring.
I used to think that too, but now I realize the year doesn't really care what you did at midnight.
That's true. Life just continues, quietly.
And I kind of like that. There's something comforting about knowing you don't have to start the year perfectly.
Yeah, no pressure to suddenly become a new person just because the calendar changed.
Exactly. I think that idea is what makes people stressed about New Year. The idea that you have to be different the next day.
When in reality, most change happens very slowly on very normal days.
That's why I like the quiet moments during the holidays. They remind me that it's okay to move at my own pace.
Speaking of pace, have you noticed how differently people enjoy New Year at different ages?
Yes, definitely. When we were younger, New Year felt like a big event.
Loud, crowded, exciting.
And now?
Now I look at a crowded place and think, how early can I leave?
Same. I think younger people enjoy the energy, going out, meeting friends, taking photos, staying up all night.
While older people, or maybe just more tired people, enjoy comfort.
Comfort, calm, and being with family.
I've noticed that for many older people, New Year is just about having everyone together. No noise, no big plans.
Just sitting, talking, eating slowly.
And honestly, that sounds really nice too.
It does. I think the way we celebrate changes as we change.
And maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, because it means we're listening to what we actually need. I think listening to what we actually need is something we slowly learn over time. When we're younger, we often follow the energy around us. We go where everyone goes, do what everyone does.
Yeah, because we don't want to miss out. We feel like if we stay home, something amazing might happen without us.
Exactly. But then one day, staying home starts to feel like the best option, not the boring one.
And suddenly, a quiet night feels more valuable than a loud party.
I think New Year is one of those times when that change becomes very clear. You really see the difference between what you think you should want and what you actually want.
That's true. I remember a few years ago, I forced myself to go out on New Year's Eve. I didn't even enjoy it. I kept checking the time, thinking about how cold it was.
And you stayed anyway.
Yeah, because I felt like I had to. Everyone else was there. I didn't want to be the one who stayed home.
I've done that too. And now when I think about it, I wonder why we were so hard on ourselves.
Probably because we connected celebration with being outside, being busy, being seen.
But celebration can also be quiet. It can be sitting with someone you love, talking about nothing important.
Or eating food together and laughing at small things.
Exactly. And during New Year, those small moments feel bigger somehow.
Maybe because the year is ending and we become more aware of time.
Yes, time feels louder at the end of the year. You start remembering moments you forgot about.
Good ones and embarrassing ones.
Especially embarrassing ones.
Those never leave.
But even those moments are part of the year, and I think New Year gives us a chance to look at them a little more gently.
Instead of judging ourselves too hard.
Yes, I used to think New Year was about becoming better. Now I think it's more about becoming kinder to yourself.
That's a nice way to put it, because when people talk about New Year's resolutions, it often sounds like punishment.
Exactly. I have to wake up earlier. I have to work harder. I have to fix myself.
As if we were broken.
But most of us are just tired.
Very tired.
That's why when people tell me their New Year plans now, I don't really care how exciting they sound. I care about whether they sound happy.
That's interesting. So if someone says, I'm going to travel or I'm staying home, it's not about the plan itself?
Right. It's about the feeling behind it. Are they excited? Are they relieved? Are they finally slowing down?
I like that. I think for a lot of people, especially those who work all year without a real break, New Year feels like permission.
Permission to stop, permission to rest, permission to not explain themselves.
And that permission is different for everyone.
Exactly. For someone young, permission might mean staying out late, laughing loudly, feeling free.
And for someone older, permission might mean going to bed early and waking up without stress.
Both are valid.
Absolutely. I think we forget that sometimes. We compare too much.
Especially during holidays, social media doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. Everyone looks happy, busy, surrounded by people.
And if you're alone or doing something simple, you start questioning yourself.
Even though many of those photos only show a few seconds of real life.
That's why I like conversations like this. They remind me that behind every New Year plan, there's a real person with a real story.
And a real level of energy.
Exactly. Some people want noise. Some people want silence.
And some people just want to feel at home.
That feeling of home becomes very strong at this time of year. Even people who don't usually talk much about family suddenly start thinking about it more.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. People who seem very independent all year suddenly feel a little softer around New Year.
I think it's because this season reminds us that time passes, whether we pay attention or not.
And when you realize that, you start thinking about who you want to spend that time with.
Exactly. For people who live close to their families, this might feel normal, but for people who work overseas, it's very different.
For them, New Year isn't just another holiday, it's a countdown to going home.
I've heard so many stories from people who save money all year just for that one flight.
Yeah, they don't talk about hotels or sightseeing, they talk about landing, taking a taxi, opening the door and seeing familiar faces.
And sometimes they don't even tell anyone they're coming, they just show up.
That moment must feel unreal.
I think so too. And when they finally get home, they don't need big celebrations. They just want time.
Time to sit, eat, talk, and rest.
And time to feel like themselves again, without explaining their life to anyone.
That's something people don't talk about enough. Living overseas often means constantly explaining who you are and what you do.
Exactly. But at home, you don't need to explain. You're just you.
I think that's why New Year feels emotional for people who've been away. It's not about starting a new year, it's about reconnecting with an old part of themselves.
That's beautifully said. And for people who can't go home, this season can feel very heavy.
Yeah, not everyone gets to travel back. Some people work through the holidays,
Or they choose not to go back for different reasons.
which can make New Year feel lonely.
That's why I think it's important to talk about different ways of spending this time. Not everyone's New Year looks the same.
Some people are surrounded by family, some are with friends, some are alone but trying to make peace with that.
And all of those experiences are real.
Do you remember how you used to spend New Year when you were younger?
I do. I remember being so excited, counting down loudly, believing that something magical would happen at midnight.
Like life would suddenly change.
Yes, I thought the next day I'd wake up as a better version of myself.
Did that ever happen?
Not really, but what did change was how I saw things.
How so?
I stopped expecting magic. I started appreciating small things more.
That's a big shift.
It is. And I think that shift happens to many people quietly without them noticing.
Probably around the time they realize staying up until midnight isn't as important as feeling okay the next day.
Exactly. Now, when I think about New Year, I think about how I want to feel in the coming year, not what I want to achieve.
That's a very different question.
It is, and it feels much gentler.
Gentle is a good word for it.
I think that's what many people are looking for now, a gentler way to live, especially after a long year.
And that gentleness shows up in how we celebrate, who we choose to be with, and how much we ask of ourselves.
I think that gentleness also shows up in the plans we make for ourselves. Not the loud plans we tell others about, but the quiet ones we keep inside.
The ones we don't post anywhere.
Exactly. The plans that sound very simple but actually mean a lot.
Like what?
Like wanting to sleep better, wanting to stop rushing all the time, wanting to feel less anxious about things we can't control.
Those plans don't sound exciting, but they feel very real.
I think that's why I've stopped asking people too many questions about their New Year resolutions. Most people already know what they need. They just don't say it out loud.
That's true, and sometimes saying it out loud makes it feel heavier.
Yes, there's pressure the moment you turn a feeling into a promise.
I've noticed that with myself. If I say, next year I will do this, it suddenly feels like a rule.
And rules don't always help.
No, they don't. Especially at the beginning of the year, when motivation is fragile.
That's why I prefer intentions now. Not strict goals, just directions.
That sounds healthier.
I hope so. For example, instead of saying I will change everything, I say I will try to be more patient with myself.
That's a good intention. And also a difficult one.
Very difficult, especially when life gets busy again after the holidays.
Because January always feels calm until it suddenly doesn't.
Exactly. The world slowly speeds up again, emails come back, schedules fill up.
And then you realize the holiday feeling doesn't last forever.
No, it doesn't, but I think it leaves something behind if we pay attention.
Like what?
Like a reminder of how it feels to slow down and how important that feeling is.
I like that idea. Instead of trying to keep the holiday mood forever, we keep the memory of it.
Yes, so when life gets noisy again, we know what we're missing.
And maybe we try to bring a little bit of that calm into regular days.
That's exactly it. Not waiting for the next holiday to feel okay.
Do you think people are changing how they see New Year?
I think so. I think fewer people believe that everything resets on January 1st.
Yeah, life doesn't really work like that.
No, but New Year still gives us a pause, a moment to look back and forward at the same time.
That moment can feel uncomfortable, too.
It can, especially if the year was hard.
Or if things didn't turn out the way you hoped.
That's why I think it's okay if New Year feels quiet, emotional, or even a little sad.
Not every New Year has to feel hopeful in a big way.
Sometimes hope is very small, like getting through another year.
Or learning something about yourself.
Exactly. And that learning doesn't always come from success.
Sometimes it comes from rest.
Yes, from stopping long enough to notice what your body and mind are asking for.
Which brings us back to how people actually spend their holidays.
Right. Some people travel, some stay home, some go back to their families after a long time away.
And all of those choices say something about what they need right now.
Not about who they are, but about where they are in life.
That's an important difference.
It is, and I think New Year helps us see that more clearly. I think New Year helps us see where we are, even if we don't fully understand it yet. It doesn't give answers, but it asks quiet questions.
Questions like, are you tired? Or what have you been carrying all year?
Yes, and sometimes the answer isn't something you can explain easily.
That's probably why people spend the holidays so differently. Everyone is responding to those questions in their own way.
Some people respond by moving, booking trips, changing places, looking for something new.
And some people respond by stopping, staying home, closing the door, turning the noise down.
Neither one is wrong.
Not at all. I think problems start when we judge our own choices too harshly,
Or when we compare them to other people's choices.
especially online. You see someone celebrating big, and suddenly your quiet plan feels small.
But quiet doesn't mean empty.
Sometimes it means full, just in a different way.
I really like that. Because some of my favorite New Year memories are very simple.
Like what?
Like sitting on the floor with family, eating leftovers, talking about random things.
That sounds familiar.
Or watching fireworks from far away through a window instead of being in the crowd,
That's actually the best way to watch fireworks.
right? You get the beauty without the stress.
I think that's how a lot of people start enjoying things as they get older. From a distance, but with more attention.
Yes, less noise, more meaning.
What about younger people, though? Do you think they see New Year differently?
I think many young people still see New Year as a moment to feel alive, to feel seen.
To feel like something is happening.
Exactly. And that's okay too. That energy has its own beauty
It reminds me of when staying up all night felt easy.
and exciting.
Now, staying up feels like a decision with consequences.
Very serious consequences.
Like being tired for 3 days.
Exactly. That's when you realize your New Year plan also needs to respect your body.
That's a lesson many people learn the hard way.
But I think all of this, how we celebrate, how we rest, how we plan, is connected to one thing:
What's that?
how well we listen to ourselves.
That's true. Because when we don't listen, we end up doing things that don't actually make us happy.
Or we do things just because it's expected.
And expectations can be very loud around New Year.
Yes, expectations about success, about happiness, about starting fresh.
As if the past year disappears at midnight.
But it doesn't. It comes with us, quietly.
And maybe that's not a bad thing.
I don't think it is. The past year holds lessons, memories, and growth we don't always see right away,
Even the hard parts.
especially the hard parts.
I guess New Year isn't really about leaving everything behind
No, it's more about choosing what to carry forward.
and choosing what to put down.
Yes, and those choices don't have to be dramatic,
They can be very quiet,
like deciding to be a little kinder to yourself.
or deciding to rest without explaining why.
Exactly. And when you think about it that way, New Year feels less heavy.
It feels more human.
That's the word. Human. I think most people are just looking for something that feels human at the end of the year. Not perfect, not impressive, just real.
Yeah, something that feels honest after months of trying to keep up.
Exactly. We spend so much of the year adjusting to expectations, work, family, responsibilities, that by the time New Year comes, we're tired of pretending.
Tired of pretending we have everything figured out.
Yes, and New Year quietly reminds us that it's okay not to.
I've noticed that conversations around this time feel different. People open up more,
They do. They talk about things they usually keep inside.
like fears, doubts, or just feeling lost.
Or feeling unsure about the future.
Which is funny because New Year is supposed to be about looking forward.
But sometimes, before you can look forward, you need to sit with where you are.
That's true. I think that's why some people don't like New Year very much.
Because it forces reflection.
And reflection can be uncomfortable.
Especially if the year was hard, or if things didn't change the way you hoped.
Or if you worked really hard and still feel stuck.
Yes, and in those moments, big celebrations can feel very far away.
That's when a quiet New Year might actually be kinder.
Kinder to your heart.
I like that idea. Not every year needs fireworks.
Some years just need a deep breath.
And maybe a good meal.
Definitely a good meal.
Food always helps,
It does. And food is such a big part of New Year for many families.
especially for people going back home.
Yes, for them, New Year tastes like home.
Like dishes they haven't had in a long time.
And flavor is connected to memories.
I think that's something people miss the most when they're away.
Food and language.
Hearing familiar words without thinking.
Without translating in your head.
That feeling of ease,
That's why going home during New Year can feel so healing.
even if the visit is short.
Yes, even a few days can refill something inside you.
And then you leave again carrying that feeling with you.
That feeling becomes a quiet support during the rest of the year.
I think that's something people don't talk about enough.
How emotional strength often comes from very ordinary moments.
Like sitting at the table together,
Or walking around your old neighborhood.
or just being called by your name the way family says it.
Those small things remind you who you are.
And when New Year comes, they matter more than any plan.
Yes, at the end of the day, New Year isn't really about what you do,
It's about how you feel when the year turns,
whether you feel supported,
whether you feel seen.
whether you feel allowed to be yourself.
And if you don't feel those things,
Then maybe New Year is a chance to slowly look for them,
not all at once.
just step by step,
That makes the idea of a new year feel less scary,
and more gentle.
like an open door, not a deadline.
Exactly. An open door you can walk through at your own pace. An open door you can walk through at your own pace. No rushing, no pressure. Just one small step when you're ready.
I really like thinking about New Year that way. It feels much kinder than the way we usually talk about it.
I think kindness is what many people are craving right now. After a long year of pushing, trying, and holding things together.
Yeah. And when Christmas and New Year come, it's like the world finally allows us to pause for a moment.
A pause to breathe. A pause to notice how tired we are. And a pause to remember what actually matters to us.
Which often isn't what we thought it would be at the beginning of the year.
Exactly. Plans change, people change, we change.
And that's okay.
More than okay. It's natural. That's why I don't think New Year should feel like a test.
It shouldn't feel like something you pass or fail.
No, it should feel like a moment to check in with yourself.
To ask, how am I really doing?
And to answer honestly, even if the answer is, I don't know yet.
That might be the most honest answer of all.
I think so too. Because not knowing doesn't mean you're lost. It just means you're still listening.
Listening to what you need next.
Yes, maybe you need rest. Maybe you need connection. Maybe you just need time.
And whatever that is, it doesn't have to look like anyone else's New Year.
That's something I really want people to remember. There's no correct way to celebrate.
No perfect plan.
No right photo.
Just your way.
Whether that means traveling far away, or staying home, or going back to the people you miss the most.
Whether you're surrounded by noise or sitting quietly with yourself.
All of it counts.
Because what matters isn't what you do at midnight.
It's how you carry yourself into the next day.
With a little more understanding.
A little more patience.
And maybe a little more rest.
Yes, if there's one thing I wish for everyone listening, it's that.
To enter the new year feeling supported.
Feeling allowed to be human.
And feeling okay with taking things slowly.
Thank you for spending this time with us, for sitting in this conversation, and for listening in your own quiet way.
Wherever you are and however you're spending this season.
We hope your Christmas and New Year bring you moments of calm, warmth, and rest.
And that the year ahead meets you gently.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and follow Jenny Fluent English for more English learning videos. See you in the next video.